In 2024, when they were taken, they had 81 children and placed 1 in kinship. So I believe they have a quota. Now in 2025, they had 104 children and put 22 in kinship. So they remained at 82. So I'm pretty sure they have an 80 child quota.
Oh, they got to hit that 80 number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And that's money. That's definitely money for the agency.
This is Lioness Letters, a place for the mothers who were never heard but never stopped loving. These are our stories of being silenced, separated, erased, in the long sacred return. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kelly.
And these are our letters to you. Hi, Jamie. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'll just introduce you quickly. You are a grandma that has been fighting against CPS and the foster care system up in Ohio. We met you in Washington, D.C. through advocacy work, and you've been fighting for almost a year now.
Oh, no, we're at a year and a half, going on 2 years.
A year and a half. So your case is it's a strong example of how the CPS system will remove the children and place them in foster care and not try and do next of kin. They want them in the system because it's profitable, and giving them to grandma is not really.
Yep.
So if you could just give us the background really quick of what happened and the children's removal and how that whole process went down.
My son abused him, and unfortunately there was a video. He shook him and had put his hand on his face, and this they consider strangulation. So he got a felony and got put in prison. I had no idea it was to this extent. And because I knew CPS said that I wasn't safe, they wouldn't allow me to see the children. I had them every weekend, pretty much since Chandler was 2 months old. We're very bonded. I had a great time. I loved having my grandchildren at my home overnight. When I first bought this house, the first thing I redid was the bedroom for the grandchildren, which CPS, they said in court that wasn't one of the rooms that I had just done it when I had gone to court. I'm like, okay. They never questioned me on anything.
Right.
But yeah, so they didn't allow anybody to see the kids for 58 days. And unfortunately, I'm meeting other parents or grandparents who are going through the same thing in the same county. And right now there's another grandma who had the kids like I did, and she hasn't seen them in 3 weeks, and they have seen nobody for 3 weeks. And that's illegal. They're supposed to see their parents within 24 hours. That's trauma. What they're doing to these kids in that county is trauma.
Right. In your Hancock County, or right?
Hancock, Findlay, Ohio.
Findlay. Okay. Okay. Let's do a quick background there. Your family, you all have been in Ohio for a long time, right?
Our whole lives, yes.
Okay.
And I'm a licensed massage therapist, so I have a medical background. Nothing in my background. My sister is a director of nursing, and her husband is a retired police chief. They currently have a foster child, and they deny them as well. My mother is retired. She does have cancer, so she's not really able to take the kids, but tried. My father's retired. He tried to get the kids. They contacted nobody. My daughter is a nurse, and she's going for nurse practitioner, and they basically said anybody that knew can't have the children. And that's not law, you know what I mean? But they also didn't investigate or talk to anybody. They just assumed. So.
Right.
Well, they probably will say, oh, there's got to be something wrong with the whole family if one person did this. And that is so far from the case.
Well, that's the other thing. In that county, they do all these allegations. So they have done that in my case. They're doing it in the other grandma's case. They said because she knew her daughter was on drugs, which she's not, that she can't have the children. She has drug testing at 2 other places, and they're trying to say that she's dirty, and she has a 3-month-old, hasn't seen him in 3 weeks, 4 kids separated. So the patterns that I'm discovering I thought it was, that we were isolated.
No,
It's not.
No.
It's totally not.
Mm-hmm.
But the allegations that they do to everybody, it's insanity.
Yep.
And a lot of it's sexual half the time, and people are innocent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it traumatizes the kids, what they put them through just to get them removed and keep them in foster care and all those things. I know you had said you knew a number of how many kids had been removed in your county and then how many had actually gone back to the family. Do you remember that number?
Right. In 2024, when they were taken, they had 81 children and placed 1 in kinship. So I believe they have a quota.
Mm-hmm.
Now in 2025, they had 104 children and put 22 in kinship. So they remained at 82. So I'm pretty sure they have an 80 child quota.
Oh, they got to hit that 80 number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And that's money. That's
Right.
definitely money for the agency.
The other thing I discovered is I started looking into paychecks. The director got a $32,225 raise from 2022 to 2023. I call her the gatekeeper. She was the caseworker who worked her way up to supervisor, and now she's administrator. But within 4 or 5 years, she doubled her income, and that was before she got the administrator position. So
I'm seeing a lot of that. We're definitely seeing more of the bonuses and the awards given to most taken children in a particular area.
Right. And they said in court that they don't get bonuses.
Yeah, that's a common misconception. And because that's what they say, and people are just like, oh, no, that can't be happening. Or or the caseworkers, like, we don't get a raise, but it's the above directors, the agencies that rake in lots of money.
Right.
And you said there was a safety plan in place, right? Can you explain what a safety plan is and then how things went array with that?
The other grandparents had the kids Monday through Friday. I picked them up Friday and had them until Sunday. And the parents were on board with that, so my son could get help. And then my son took away the safety plan. Yeah, he took away the safety plan. And I freaked out and talked to who I thought was a friend. That's a caseworker here where I live in Sandusky County. And things went awry. She wrote up this long letter while I was on the phone with her. I couldn't read it. And she exaggerated because she's a CPS worker. And that's what they do. There again, the police never investigated me. CPS never investigated me. We all started calling from day one. They're supposed to notify family for the first hearing, and they never did. Nobody. They also told my son and daughter-in-law that they didn't have to be there. So that's when you know right away things are going sideways.
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to ask. So how did you know whenever things were going sideways? Is the safety plan a court order or...
No, ours was our own. And since I didn't have a power of attorney, which still isn't a legality thing, but that's what they use in court, they said that I had no standing up in loco parentis. So that's what they used against me to not get the children. The first 20 minutes of court on the third day that CPS took the stand, it was left and right slamming me. And my attorney objected 5 times and the judge overruled. And they said hearsay's allowed. And so I'm just confused on why you even raise your hand to tell the truth, because nobody's telling the truth.
Right.
Perjury is like awarded in family court.
Yeah.
Is CPS supposed to place the kids with family first, right? Or they're not supposed to just remove right away?
No,
that's not what they did.
Nope. And this other grandma in the same situation, she showed up to the first day of court. They would not allow her in. And they never gave her kinship papers. She showed up there asking for them. And then they finally did mail her some. But on that paper, it also says that she would have a good chance, I think, of getting the kids if she was a foster parent. There again, so they still get the money.
So how old were the kids? It's 2 kids, right? That your son's 2 kids? How old were they whenever they were removed?
Chandler was almost 1. Oh, he turned 1 a week after he was taken. And she was 4. And now he'll be turning 3 in July. They extended until July, I believe. And she's 6. So we've missed so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Right during their formative ages too. Like how traumatic.
It is. And, my grandson will never remember what happened, thankfully, and he wasn't hurt. But what they have done is lasting. And that's what hurt.
Yeah. Do you know I know that you had said all the false allegations, it kind of snowballed a lot of things. And it traumatized the kids through what they went through. Do you know the effect this has had on the kids? What has happened through this process with them from what you know?
In court, they tried to say that mom was traumatizing the kids from her 1 hour a week visit, which they tried to say started 6 months in, but it actually is documented 3 months in that my grandson started headbanging, self-harming, had insomnia. Sorry.
It's okay.
Cried until he hyperventilated. And then poor Evie, within 7 days, the foster mom, I know she heard from the administrator that the maternal grandfather had unsubstantiated SACWIS, and they're not supposed to pull that. But within 7 days, the foster mom tried saying that he had sexually abused her, and that was unsubstantiated. Then after that fell through, 8 days later, this hairline fractured rib, one. So that's not abuse. That could have been a fall or anything. If it's multiple ribs, that's a sign of abuse. We had hired a professional doctor, but that became forefront 28 days later after they already had the kids. So they're finding reasons and moving goalposts to keep the kids. And then after the new year, the foster mom started in again about sexual allegations of the grandpa. So then they brought charges against him. He had to hire a criminal attorney. So they've just tried to bankrupt and destroy our whole family on every side.
And those allegations, didn't your granddaughter have to go through exams and everything? They poke and prod her just to keep the whole thing going, right? Which is traumatizing.
She had to have a genital exam, and then I think they had her go back for an STI test. And this doctor is known for doing this and not doing a history on the child, a medical history, and then saying the same things, that it doesn't always show that there was sexual abuse. So why are you traumatizing a child? Plus, they're also supposed to let mom know so mom can be there, and she wasn't told either. Foster mom was recording her in her bedroom 3 times, and that's like a forensic interview, and she's not allowed to do that. My grandson had a chipped tooth in her care, and all of that got brushed off.
Yeah, if anything happens in her care, it's brushed off. If it happens, if by false allegations or anything with y'all is gonna be
end all be all,
right? So that their goal is to adopt out. First off, removal with CPS, placing in foster care, and then after a certain amount of time in foster care, their goal is to adopt them out, right? And you feel that that's their goal, right?
Well, here's the thing. The caseworker showed up to my son and daughter-in-law's trailer and didn't have the case plan. So she had them sign, I don't know what they had them sign, some paper. And then they saw later that they had put the final thing as adoption. It didn't even say reunification.
Right. They don't even try. They just want to adopt them out because
that's dirty.
Where the money comes. That's where the funding comes, right?
Yep. And that was dirty. And he tried to email and call and get that changed, and they just ignored him. But they had no idea that, they signed a blank piece of paper or something, and then they saw that trickery. So we knew right off the get-go that this was downhill.
I think we were reading that it was 15. The law is supposed to say it has to be 15 of the 22 most recent months. And was that timeline followed, or they did whatever? Bypassed?
They ran the clock as much as they could, pushing out court dates, not doing kinship. We've all tried. We had 16 people willing to take the children, and they found excuses for almost every single one of us, and never did a background check, never did a home study. I don't know how they get away with this, but they're doing it to other families as well in the same county.
Absolutely.
Right. It's
It's across the board.
Right. And do you think the foster parents that they're placed with, do you think they have good intentions? What do you think their intentions are here? Why? What is the reason?
She is a social worker herself. And I don't know. I don't know if she wants to adopt them. In court, my attorney asked the caseworker or the gatekeeper on the stand, and she said no, but I don't know that I believe it. And, she said that she was looking out for their best interests, but then why would you not encourage someone to have these kids see their family and wait for 58 days? She was playing around with them and having family photos done. My sister's a foster parent, and she's a wonderful foster parent to this little boy.
So how come she can be a foster parent to other kids, but not her own? Right. That makes a lot of sense.
It's the teachers losing custody. It's the mandatory reporters losing custody. We're seeing so much of this insanity across the board.
So I know you had said a solution would be defunding a lot of things. And she kind of touched base on the ASFA. So that's the Adoption Safe Families Act, Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997. We just want our viewers to understand why people are incentivized to do this. So it says 15 of 22 months. It triggers mandatory getting rid of the parental rights, right?
That's what we did. Yeah, we just touched on that part, and that's supposed to be the timeline. And she said they just bypass it. They'll stretch out anything.
Yeah, right. They'll just try and stretch it out, because if they hit that 15 of the 22 months, then that lets them get rid of the parental rights, adopt them out, and they get funding.
There's other things under that they're supposed to follow, but there's no oversight. So they're doing whatever they want. They're not following the law. They are making their own law.
Yep. Right. There's 3 big ones, I think, and that was the first one that caught our eye, and then there's a couple other.
Yeah, well, I remember you had said they need to defund ASFA, and I was like, we need to look into that, because we're more knowledgeable on just family court side and all that than the foster care and the CPS side. So we're learning more about that now. But that wraps into the Title IV funding, the ASFA, and the way that it's funded for the government to have CPS and foster care going. It's funded to where they're incentivized to remove the children. They make the bonuses through doing that, and that's
what this bill created.
The problem,
right? And they're getting child support on top of that. They have a $2.1 million levy in that county. And Lord knows what else kind of money is getting funneled in. And, and I don't believe that it's the foster parents making the money. It's the agencies that are making the money.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think I misspoke once before and said it was the foster parents. And we had some people reach out. They were like, we do not receive bonuses.
Right. And honestly,
right.
Before all of this, I thought that the foster parents, were making good money, but they're not. And, my sister's a foster parent, and she's a good one. She's got a little life book. He gets to look at his family. She's got his photos around the house for him. My grandchildren don't even know who we are.
So she's trying to keep his core together and his family, and then other foster parents are like, nope, they're bad. They're bad. Forget about them.
It's so wrong.
That's sad. That's so sad.
It is very sad, because he has no idea what's going on, and she's getting angry. She's 6 now, and they're blaming these things on mom, and it's not mom. They want to be with their family. And the last time mom saw Chandler, he was very, very sick, so sick that he collapsed in her arms and fell asleep. So they had to take it, because I think he was sick the week before, and she hadn't taken him to the doctor. They got Medicaid, and there's just no excuse for it.
No. So mom wants the kids. Mom is there. Mom's available. Mom wants her kids.
But mom's followed case plan.
Right. But they're not doing anything to help reunify, nothing. They just want to keep it going.
Well, and I had an appeal, but I dropped it. I talked to mom's attorney, and she explained some things. And 95% of the time, they affirm with the lower court. So it's rigged no matter how you try to get equality and fairness. So I dropped my appeal, and because lower court locked up and wouldn't let her file a motion for custody, which had nothing to do with me intervening. And then CPS was using me as a scapegoat because they said that since I was whatever, that they weren't going to increase her visits. So craziness.
Is this in juvenile? You talk about appeals. How does foster care, will you tell our viewers, how is it juvenile court or is it family court or domestic relations? Which route?
It's family court.
It's family court. Okay, so same route as a traditional divorce, same exact thing. So you tried to go through the Court of Appeals and appeal it. Is it the same process that you do? Do you have to put it in like a you just file an objection and then
you file papers, and I had to write a brief, and you only get so many pages and whatnot, and it has to be, based off the judge's entries and that sort of thing. And I thought I had a pretty good case, but probably not as crooked as everything is.
And that's something I wanted to touch on because I am also in the objections phase, and the Court of Appeals typically, I feel like it is in Ohio is still somewhat decent. But it sounds like maybe not. Maybe not.
No.
Not in not for Hancock County. It's through Lima, 3rd District. So
because you did the appeal, right? And then you've thrown it out so that mom can step in and try. I know you had said that to me the other day. Mom was trying to step in and file her stuff. So you kind of pulled back on your end, right?
Yep. So that means I have no recourse now. That means that I just accepted what the judge said, and I'm in the background fighting and trying to raise money to help pay for her attorney. And I know she's going to have to appeal. And when she has to appeal, that means she has to pay for every single court transcript, which is $3.90. Luckily, I've taken care of at least 2 days. That's $2,730. But she's going to have a long road ahead of bills, And these people deserve.
The way they get you with the transcripts. I mean, it's just.
I'm still waiting on mine, Jamie. I paid $4,000 in July of 2025, and they're purposely. Well, I don't want to accuse anybody of purposely withholding them, but it is February 2026.
Yeah.
Wow. You still don't have them?
What was that, Jim?
She's paid for them and everything, and they won't release them.
They're purposely withholding them.
Yeah.
Wow, mine did not take long at all because of my appeal. They had to have it in within a certain time.
She's in appeal.
We're in appeal. Yeah, we objected it. Our judge has the reputation of sitting on objections for 2+ years, which is beyond insane and illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't want to say illegal. It's improper. And it's, what are you doing to these kids, just allowing them to sit in these situations?
That's also a reason why I dropped my appeal, because mom's attorney said that she had oral argument last July and it still hasn't gone through. And I don't want to drag it on for my grandchildren. If there's a chance for mom, then let mom.
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
I'm in the background doing my thing, trying to help any which way I can.
I'm friends with Jamie on Facebook, and she's baking cookies.
I know. I'm like, I with you on Instagram. I'm like, I want some of those cookies. My cookies for the best grandma ever. I'm like, my mom's not doing. What is my mom doing? She better get it together.
But she's selling them to help pay for all the legal fees.
I'm gonna buy some cookies. When I get my kids back, they love them. But if I get them now, I just will eat them all myself, and that's not gonna be good. So we'll have to coordinate, Jane, because they look amazing. I'm always liking her
you're
Instagram.
Very talented on the cookies.
This is the cutest thing ever. How can they I know some pretty crazy grandmas.
Yeah, you look like a terrible grandma.
You are amazing.
I need to keep those children from you, Jamie. Like, my goodness, you're so dangerous.
The homemade dough and everything. I'm like, I want to be her grandchild.
And it was hard for me to even want to bake, because those are like family things that I did with my children growing up, is sugar cookies and letting them cut out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very hard for me to get into the swing of things, but you do what you have to do,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's funny because when I had done a fundraiser at the beginning, I did a GoFundMe and I did a fundraiser with raffles. It was used against me in court. Basically said that I was poor.
Oh, you're too poor to pay for legal fees, therefore you shouldn't have the children. Yeah, any little thing. This is a great example of it doesn't matter what you do.
No.
It doesn't matter. They'll find a way to spin it and make it a negative.
Well, they say in family court, if you're poor, you are an annoyance or an inconvenience for the court. And if you're rich, you're a cash cow.
Yeah.
And so we're being milked for everything. And I'm not even rich, and neither is my ex-husband. We just we're comfortable, I guess. Our kids go to private school, but they're just, they know I'm not going to stop fighting for my kids. So it's just money. It's just,
that's what they're doing to us. It's a big old funnel, big old circle, paying for doctors, paying for psychologists.
You've got to pay everybody's Christmases and salaries and vacations for the year, Jamie. Yeah. Didn't you know that? You've got to cover all of Hancock County when you get in. You can't have your family, but you have to fund theirs.
Right.
It's
right.
And I just never thought this would happen. You turn something in thinking that they're going to help you and protect them. And then that's the last time you see them, and you're just in disbelief on what's going on. And I was clueless.
We were too. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. And that's a comment that we frequently get is if a mom, especially with family court, in foster care and CPS, they are all for the best interest of the child. And that is the biggest misconception we hear. And if a mom or dad loses custody, or if a child gets placed in foster care, CPS, it was because they deserved it and they did something wrong. And in 2026, those CPS workers, there's a lot of them doing wrong. They're lying. They're making up false allegations. The foster care agencies, they're desperate for kids because it is, thanks to the Title 4D, 4E funding, the 4D umbrella, there's no accountability. There's no oversight. So bad people in those systems created the way to, the kids are being sold in all three avenues, and it's basically going to the highest bidder. And it sounds like the foster care parents are the highest bidder, just like in family court, it goes to whoever's paying the most. Children are sold, and same with CPS. And any false allegations to get those children, they will say whatever they have to say. And it's typically, like today, I feel like it's more than 75% is just crazy lies, not even close to the truth. And that's huge in America because we all went into it thinking, well, they're going to take care of the kid. They're going to do what's right on the kids.
Yeah, surely they're going to base it off of facts and evidence and look into this.
It's America. That's how we thought that our country worked, especially in criminal court, where we go in, this is how our court of law works. And family court is the opposite. And CPS is the opposite. And foster care is the opposite.
Yep. You get more rights in criminal court than you do family court.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And you tried to do a federal lawsuit. I know it got thrown out. Tell us a little bit about what you were trying to do there, who all was involved, and just what your goal was with that.
Due process and suing them for their wrongs, whether it was monetary or just, making them be responsible for their actions. But it got thrown out due to jurisdiction. So I will try again. And the thing is you can't find an attorney. So there again, you're on your own. And
you were doing it on your own. And it was like everybody. It was like you were basically, the federal lawsuit was all the actors within your case, like the doctor, the this, the that, right? You included the judge, everybody.
Doctor, foster parents, commissioners, the county, the director, the gatekeeper, as I call her. Mm-hmm. Quite a few, 5 or 6.
And you said you can't find an attorney. That's something that I caught. And is that because that would be like career suicide for an attorney? Because they are part of
the problem.
They're part of the problem. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. You touched on that.
They need a good standing with the court and with people, so they don't want to get into too messy stuff, right?
Well, when they have to work with these same people all the time, if you start crossing somebody, you're not going to win your cases at all.
Yeah, right. So, because it's not based on evidence. It's based on retaliatory behavior. It's based on reputation. These are all things that people do not know yet. except
Right.
us who have experienced it, that it's not on anything it's supposed to be on.
The thing is my sister had hired an attorney that had just come back to Findlay, and she asked around and said to my sister that you may as well just drop your case because you're not going to get anywhere. So that tells you they all know the judge is God.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, me and the mom or the other grandparents hired out of county, and I guarantee they will never go back to Hancock County because I don't think they expected what is going on from, Lucas County where they are to Hancock County. I think they were both like in shock on how dirty it is.
Even Lucas County is Toledo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is that because they say is the human trafficking capital of America. And are we seeing the same kind of corruption in Lucas County as Hancock?
I don't think so. Not at least in court, because I guarantee my attorney thought that we were going to be a party to the case because they didn't ask us any of the discovery they gave her. And when we went to break, I was like, that was too easy. And my husband said the same thing. She's like, oh, they're probably just going to ask you that once we become a party to the case. Nope. On day 3, she just attacked me, and, my attorney objected, judge overruled, and I just got lambasted. Like, it's crazy. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Never anything so evil.
Yeah. You just look around and you're like, what? How can these people do this? This is horrible.
It's demonic. It's beyond demonic.
I don't know how they sleep at night. The judge used to be the prosecuting attorney, so she's already extremely biased.
And with you speaking out a lot, like now you're kind of like getting louder. You're getting louder on social media. You've spoken out. Do you think you've experienced retaliation for that?
I think we already have, because right from the get-go, we were writing the commissioners, we were writing DeWine, we were writing Attorney General Dave Yost, we were writing ODJFS, we were calling DCY. We did everything we could. And, we really did think it was retaliatory, but now I'm not real sure because of everybody else that's coming forward. I made a Facebook group. It was at first for Findlay, people there, but we've added people from other counties, and the similarities, it's everywhere, but I just met a lady whose case was 10 years ago, and it's the same thing. And they accused her husband of rape of his little boy. It's crazy.
Ugh.
Did Wine with DeWine help at all? I like to call him Wine with DeWine because of COVID, because that is, we'd be like, oh, it's 2:00 Wine with DeWine time.
Yeah. Nope. Everybody just kind of flick shit as somebody else. Not my problem, not my problem, not my problem. So,
yeah, that's what I've heard a lot from our Ohio reps. And I wanted to definitely make sure that is in the video, because do better, Ohio.
Right.
Yeah,
and
speaking of.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
I actually had a Zoom call with Senator Paula Hicks Hudson. And she was talking about her SB 174.
That's what I was going to ask you about next. We were going to go into SB 174 and all that. So go ahead.
Yeah, she was trying to say how it was going to help parents, but in reality, it's giving the judges more discretion. And I don't know how much more you can give them discretion, because it's ridiculous already. So that's scary to me, that I'm telling anybody and everybody, like, you should be concerned, because they can just, if you go to divorce court or whatever, they can just take your child and give it to anybody they want to. It's insane.
And what you're saying here is the discretion. This means you go in and you have one judge, and it's just based on their opinion. It's just based on what they think and how they feel that day. And the discretion is up to them. And this 100%. SB 174 actually gives them more of that, which I don't think, I don't know that they need more, but that's what it would do, right? And this is in Ohio, and you've spoken out against it, right?
Yep. And then I've also been on Zoom calls with Bob Latta's office aide. I've been on Zoom calls with Marcy Captor's office aide. I have been on a Zoom call with my representative, Gary Click. He said he would advocate for me. I don't know what he did. I send him stuff all the time and trying to educate him on what is going on. And I'm sure he sees my stuff because I'll tag him. Supposedly has something coming out today concerning parental rights. So we shall see what that is. But yeah, I don't even know where else to go. I've emailed and even gone to Doge and, federal level. Nobody responds.
Everywhere you've tried it all. You've tried it all.
Because we still have the misconception that, let's let the judge decide. They're going to do what's right. And this SB 174 it is created by judges for judges to have more power and control. And I know that both Gavarone and Hicks Hudson, who created it, Gavarone has close ties to judges that are doing wrong. I know a lot of what goes on in Ohio, a lot of the counties, and it is not a good bill whatsoever. And I'm so grateful for my rep. I cannot remember their name, but I think it's the Portage County area. I don't live in the county that my divorce is in. But they were the one of only 2 reps that voted it down. Everybody else, it passed the Senate because all the senators, everybody just assumes, they're going to do the right thing. And that's the opposite of what's going on.
They hear, this is what we need. This is good. And then they're like, but they don't understand. A lot of these senators and all them, they don't really understand.
Unless you're in it.
They need to be educated more. They're not. They don't understand.
I even complained to Finley's state rep, and he's basically kissing the judges behind. So whenever I get a chance, I'll comment underneath his stuff and be like, 81 children and 1 in kinship. That's not alarming. I mean, I lay it out there. I keep telling my family, if I end up in jail, somebody come get me out.
There's too many, if you can't beat them, join them people instead of standing up for what's right. And unless it affects you personally, you really don't see, unless you're in it, you have no idea. And that has been our biggest goal, because people that are married, my married friends, they have no idea.
Yeah, they're like, that's for
those people are like, really big something's wrong over there. Let's just push that away, because the fear of thinking this could happen to me, they have to push that out. And so many people are just like, that's a them problem. That's a different state problem. No, it is happening right in your front yard, not even your backyard. It is in your front yard, but it's so insidious. But it's becoming, thankfully, because of the exposure. And I want to tie that back into you speaking out. It is becoming, because we're all talking about it, mass amounts of people are coming forward, and it's not so insidious anymore. And the retaliatory behavior, when you touched on, did they retaliate? We've come to the conclusion, whether you speak out or not, they have these systems in place to do whatever they want. You're just another person. You're not special. They're just going to keep doing their little train of making things chug along and do whatever they need to do to get their goal accomplished.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Yes, absolutely. The systems are a very well-oiled machine, and they have been happening since we were young, because 1997.
Yeah, it's really, I think it started,
the Clintons
in the 90s. It's whenever everything flipped with the Title 4E, Title 4D funding and all that. Yeah.
We learned before 2000, it was not, there were no, even children were classified differently before that time. And then it started to really pick up, like in the year 2000, it just took off with that act, and they learned different players in different counties, and they're all colluding because they all meet up at conferences. They all see each other. It is a completely underground mafia or Illuminati of court.
Yeah.
The judge in that county sued the commissioners to have her building built the way she wanted it. And that cost them $99,000. So I think they're scared of her. And she got like another $7 million to build it the way she wanted it.
It sounds like a pharaoh. I'm like, am I reading the Old Testament here, or is this the egos of these judges and
they're supposed to be for the people. And working for the people.
No, they go in and the plaque of their name goes up, and it's like it covers an entire room. I'm like, come on. You are not that important. We voted you in. You work for us. It's not the other way around, but they think that they are God and they can just do whatever and bypass any law that they want and just not follow anything. And they'll just delay because you'll give up, you'll get exhausted, they'll financially deplete you. What are you going to do? You know?
Well, and one of the ladies that just reached out to me, she worked for the commissioners.
Oh,
and
so you got some inside knowledge, Jamie. Tell us about it.
She said that they hang out at the bar and discuss the cases.
Oh, yes, they do. That's a very common.
Yeah. Yep. The attorneys are shaking hands behind doors going, how much can we get out of these two? And that's what they're all doing. Yeah.
They're like, oh, these two are back in court again. My God, let's just get these two out of here. And the guardian ad litems are best friends with opposing counsel and they're best friends with the judge. And then they're all best friends. They're in Halloween pictures together. Don't think I didn't see those. When you're neglecting kids, but you're all dressing up and doing the things that you're doing. I mean, I'm watching it, and it's tasteless, it's classless, and it's disgusting. And they should be ashamed of themselves.
Lucky for us, the guardian ad, the judge said he's the same as the guardian ad litem, which he's not. He's a CASA. But he was for family, and I think he's been blown away because he thinks that all these kids, the families haven't wanted them. Nobody's reached out. Nobody understands, their rights. I'm trying to educate people. I've actually been typing up documents on do this, 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 and this because I had people reaching out to me within 24 hours, and I was exhausted trying to repeat, and it just breaks your heart, but it also refuels that fire to keep fighting because you hit rock bottom again and you're like, oh my gosh, what more can I do? But each person that reaches out, it makes me angry for these children.
Yeah. Absolutely. For what they're going through and just the generations to come, we should be worried about the future of America. We should be worrying about our kids' kids. We should be worrying about making a better place for them.
It keeps them in the system. It keeps them in the loop, and that's what they want.
Yeah. They want the control.
These kids think that nobody wants them, and then they end up on drugs, or they end up homeless, or they, in and out of jail. And
it's a self-esteem hit for sure. Because I was a kid in the system. It was very quick, but I definitely was in family court at a young age. I had an amazing guardian ad litem, thank God, but things have drastically changed since then. It's not, my sisters always say, we're not in Kansas anymore. It is not the way that it used to be as of the last, I would say 10 to 15 years have been out of control, but it really started around the year 2000.
Yeah. And it's been bad for years. I had cousins that were in the system, and the one was in a group home, and she said she had to choose, her abuse that she was going to get for whatever she may have done wrong, which probably wasn't anything. But
I saw a mom, like a woman. She's aged out of the system, and she was on TikTok. She did a video, and she said, if you're put in foster care, it's actually better for you to commit a crime and get put in juvie than it is to stay in foster care, because at least there, you're getting fed. You're getting monitored everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. Nobody's going to be able to abuse you like to that extent. But in foster care, there's no eyes. There's so much abuse within that.
Oh, so much abuse. And we've met survivors of foster care and just the trauma and the damage that it does. It is, and it's not all foster care kids. Of course, there are some that have it better than others, but just what they have experienced and what they do now, how they act as adults for means of survival, it's not healthy. It's not normal. It's not how we should be.
No.
We should
have attachment disorders. They don't trust.
Yep, because you think, just like you said, your granddaughter, she's in those formative ages, and cluster B is something I'm familiar with. So narcissism, those personality disorders, they run rampant in those situations because they peak at age 6. And that creates your entire identity. That creates your entire personality. Things like that can't be changed. And if those traumatic things are happening between the ages of 0 to 6, it is a high likelihood for things like that to happen if a child doesn't have any other resources. Now, for me, I had, issues when I was a kid because of those things being in the system, having the parents that I did. Thankfully, I had my angelic aunt to take me over and to heal a lot of things. But we're basically creating a world of little narcissists just running all over because we're damaging them at such young ages. And that's
not even narcissists, but just traumatized kids that are put into survival mode. And if you're put into survival mode in such a young age, that affects you forever. I mean, you're going to, it's how you look at the world, right?
Yep.
That's how I think. I'm like, the trauma that I've been through this, I had lost 50 pounds and my whole nervous system doesn't shut down and my brain doesn't shut down. And I just think, if I'm that way, what are these kids going through? They can't be told what's going on, because that whole thing with the Harmony House and those in-between places where you can't take anything in, you can't take gifts. Like where my grandchildren are being seen, mom's not allowed to take anything in. Now where my sister's little guy goes, his mom brought him a birthday cake. She got to see him for his birthday, all of these things and presents. My grandchildren, nothing.
Yeah, you're not allowed. They want to cut off the bond. They want to cut off the relationship. So no, you can't bring gifts. You can't do that. Like, no.
That's how supervised visits are as well. I was like, how am I going to bring this?
She hasn't even seen them for their birthdays at all. And
I didn't get to see my son for his 10th birthday as well. And how do you bring a bunch of gifts for 4 different kids to a supervision center, especially heavy? And they don't want you to do any of that.
Now, this last year, she was told she would see them on Christmas Eve because that was her Wednesday. Foster mom said there was a miscommunication.
Of course.
And the previous year, she didn't see the kids for 3 weeks straight. And then she was told that Harmony House didn't have any openings, so she had to forfeit her 3 visits. Then this year, also after Christmas, they were supposed to be going to Florida. So that got canceled during that snowstorm or something prior to that. And nobody told mom. So guess what? Foster mom shows up and it makes mom look bad. So was that planned?
Like she's a no-show.
Yep.
See, they're trying to work towards that whole termination thing.
Yeah, they're very much trying to sever the bond.
Manipulation, so manipulation.
Yeah. It's okay when foster mom does it, but not when mom accidentally.
When she does it, it's just a mistake. It's okay. It's fine. And whenever mom does it, it's like, this is hardcore proof of why she should not be a mom.
We see that across the board. It's in family court. It's dads can do, in our situations, dads can pretty much do whatever. Moms are punished to the max. And there's that double standard across CPS, foster care, and family court is what we're seeing quite a bit.
Whenever you got on the Zoom call with Senator Paula Hicks Hudson, so she's a senator of Toledo. That's up by you. Was she receptive to you talking about the SB 174? Like, how would you gauge that conversation with her?
There was a couple of us on the call, and honestly, she was very concerned when I told her about my case, right? That nobody was interviewed, there were no kinship, and she couldn't wrap her mind around it. So she wanted me to send her all my information. Well, guess what? I did repeatedly, and she's never responded.
Yeah, ignores. Yeah, no response.
No.
Yeah. I think they either don't care or they're all just in on it because it's that they've got to keep their narrative going. That
they all got their hands in the honey pot, money pot.
If you can't beat them, join them is kind of how they do it. If you want to keep your career and your job and your reputation, you need to go along with this or else.
Well, and we know from Nancy Schaefer what happens, right? I mean,
Nancy Schaefer. Yeah,
I don't know much about that one.
Tell her about Nancy Schaefer.
She was a senator who lost her being senator because she spoke out against all of this stuff with CPS and was exposing it and writing a book. And they ended up saying that it was a murder-suicide. There's no way.
She died.
She lost her life.
She was one of the main ones. Like, there's a lot. She did one major speech where she was speaking out against CPS and funding and all that.
It was amazing.
She was one that was coming up, and then she's.
Oh, she mysteriously died. Oh.
Right. And, you know, we've got people exposing now, like you guys are, and they're publicly saying about Nancy Schaefer and, you know, their lives.
Yeah, Kelly and I are not suicidal.
Right?
we want to live.
I've never been suicidal. I have never wanted to hurt myself. I love my babies. I cannot wait to be reunited with them. We lived a pretty peaceful, normal life before all of this. And the way that it's been turned around has been insane. But what I wanted to say is we are now seeing CPS, was it Texas? CPS workers are getting charges for falsifying.
Oh, yeah,
Amen.
we're seeing that happen.
It's starting to happen now. So
Amen.
when did Nancy Schaefer pass away?
That was a while ago, right?
Was it a few years ago?
No, like 2007, 9, I don't know, somewhere.
So she was before her time. And that's it, because this is like the Great Awakening. There's a lot of narcissism being revealed. Even when I used to talk about, I didn't even know what like cluster B or like any of this personality disorder stuff, which is what we see running rampant in family court. The abusive that typically goes along with coercive control, abuse. They're the ones who need control. The psychopaths, the sociopaths. And that when I found out what it was in 2018, people thought that I had like 5 eyes. They're like, what is wrong with this situation? In 2018, and fast forward to 2026, and we are like, it's taken off. People, the exposure, the revealing, it is happening. It is just, it's taken off a lot. And thank God for that, because the more that we speak out, the more people need to know, and the more hopefully that change happens. And that's what just needs to happen, is just speaking out more.
I feel like 2026 is our year.
I do too. I do too. And they say the shift is going to happen mid-February. I'm like, God, what? It's only February 10th. I have a contempt hearing March 19th for talking to my kids, a show cause hearing for speaking to my children with illegal orders.
I didn't have the laptop plugged in, so it looked like I think we were going to run about it.
It was going down. But yeah, I have a hearing March 19th, and I'm just like, God, it says, you know, the year of the horse has started. What's going on? It's got to be coming up soon because nothing's changing, and I'm going to be in jail soon if I don't get this going. So we're hoping that we get some turnaround, because the exposure is crucial, and especially with everything that's going on with our government on a higher level, the mass exposure. I mean,
right. So I would ask you that, like, we're seeing a lot of more advocacy, just like what me and Kelly are doing. And you're speaking out, you post stuff a lot online, and you say, like, get loud, right? Like, just if you have a choice between speaking out or not, speak out, right? At this point.
Yep. I've been trying to tell the parents that too, and everybody's afraid. And I'm like, they're going to do what they're going to do. It doesn't matter if you speak out.
Yes.
The more of us that speak out and we all get together, the worse it's going to look for them. Right now, I'm ready to take everybody and go to the news media, because not one person's going to do it. It's going to take groups, you know, and that's about where
if the news will cover it, right? That's another thing. This is sticky for them to even cover. They won't cover it usually.
Yep.
But if we all get together and get loud, they can't ignore it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Jamie,
that's why, anytime I see somebody that's a friend of a friend of a friend who's going through it, I add them, because I think the more of us that are connected somehow and we see something, the more we're going to be able to join forces in one place or something at some point.
Right.
100%. And we had talked about, speaking of friends, we talked about how you've lost friends in this. I know I've lost friends in this because of the the
stress,
people can't wrap their mind around this, and they think something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Rather than
it's hurt my business too. I'm slow. So, you know, I toss around ideas of making my own nonprofit. You know, who knows where it's going to take me, because I have a higher calling.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's about the children.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So thank you guys for being loud and putting this out there. And There's this Brian Bauer Master who's making a documentary, which is exciting. I think somebody else is doing a documentary. So
there seems to be buzz of a few different ones. I talked to Brian. There's somebody else I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So like I said, hopefully we get loud enough to where it can't be ignored.
Right.
And
they can't kill us all, right?
Away, right?
Exactly. There's the more that we have, there is power in numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Any big movement, any big change in history that ever happened, it happened because a large group of people got together and said no more, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what would you say is like the big emotional, if you could put it into words or describe it, what is the emotional impact that this has done on you? And not only you, but your sister, your brother, all the family members, and how they get affected in all of this process, like the full chain reaction.
It's ripped my whole family apart. I guess I'm out on an island. I haven't been to a family function in going on 2 years. My relationship with my daughter's been up and down, which hurts. My son hates me, obviously. My daughter-in-law hates me. My dad and my brother don't talk to me. I lost 50 pounds. I've got complex PTSD. I don't sleep. I have insomnia. I go until I exhaust myself. And then I finally collapse or I get repeated migraines. And yeah, it's just fried my whole system.
To not be believed and to be judged on that level is so beyond excruciatingly painful.
Where did the conflict come from within family members, though? Is it like everybody just fighting, disagreeing on what's going on and what to do, or where does that come from?
They're just mad that it got turned in and how it got turned in and how it's turned out, and you can't blame that on me. It's the system. And forever it'll be blamed on me. And look at everybody.
Because you trusted somebody within the system in the beginning, right? And that was really kind of the catalyst.
I've been everybody's scapegoat, so
yeah,
it's whatever. It's hurtful. It's fractured a lot of things and hurt everybody financially. If you weren't already destitute, you are by the time they're done with you.
Absolutely.
I think we all trusted the system as well. And then it somehow gets turned on us as being the problem. And really, that's couldn't be farther from the truth.
Well, and the things they're allowed to say about you, it hits you in the heart, because it's not true. I'm the furthest thing from what they said about me in court. And it's disgusting. And it makes your brain, am I? No, that's not who I am. So,
yeah. And just like through all this, I mean, obviously the kids are your biggest motivation, right? That's what keeps you going.
Yep. And other families, it's not just my grandkids. I'm fighting for all of them.
Yeah. So. Well, thanks so much, Jamie. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for helping get the word out on what's going on. And we're just, like I said, trying to educate people on the truth on how this works, because a lot of people just don't get it. They don't understand. And it comes down to the funding, and that's what me and Kelly are trying to educate and help people see, and just give people like you a platform to tell your story. And
I hope more come forward, because they need to hear from all of us.
Yeah.
There's definitely there's millions of us out there that have experienced the false allegations, the hearsay that they've pushed.
Endless. Me and Kelly, we already can't even keep track of how many are reaching out and want to like be on and stuff. Like, we're going to have to be like super exclusive in a way.
Kelly, you're going
I mean, it's endless. There's so many families hurting, so many children hurting at this point.
Right.
Yep. 100%.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
We'll come back. We'll have you back on all the time and keep up with your case. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.